Jake here for American Trucks, and in this video we're taking a look at the Pro Series projector headlights with alpha black housings and clear lenses fit in 2014 and 2015 Silverado 1500s. Whether you're looking to replace some old faded lenses or whether you just want to update the look of your Silverado, these Pro Series headlights are going to fit the bill. Not only do they provide you with updated OEM plus good looks, but you get a pretty significant lighting upgrade as well. With LED daytime running lights and dual projectors, they're a definite improvement over your stock setup. So if you're after both style and substance for your next set of headlights, stick around. Now, lighting upgrades are some of the easiest and best ways to improve your truck. Whether you're going more for aesthetics or lighting performance, opting for a new set of headlights is a great way to make a difference in the overall experience of your truck. Now, these Pro Series projector headlights are going to take the place of your factory units and provide you with better lighting than those stock units as well. And that is thanks to these projectors. You actually get two in each light, one for the high beams and one for the low. Both are going to utilize H7 bulbs for a much cleaner, crisper, and brighter light output than your factory bulbs. Now, that also means that if and when you do need to change those bulbs out, it won't be a problem, as H7 bulbs are readily available pretty much anywhere, and they're pretty affordable too. So running costs here are going to be minimal. But you also get the benefits of having LED daytime running lights here too. Now, in the center of the housings, you get these LED strips. These are going to shine a bright white when you power on your truck and you're just driving around like normal, functioning like a traditional daytime running light. But these do have another trick up their proverbial sleeve in that they act as your turn signals as well. And they're sequential turn signals to boot, which I am always a fan of. So when you hit the stalk, these are going to switch to an amber color, much brighter than your factory DRLs and turn signals. And since they're LEDs, they're going to last you a long time as well. I've prolonged it long enough, but we have to talk about the way these things look. Now, the alpha black housings make them look pretty aggressive, and if you are planning on blacking out your Silverado's grille or any of the other trim, these are going to fit that aesthetic perfectly. And though I haven't even mentioned it up to this point, I think perhaps the biggest reason to snag these over other options is that they look like the factory 2019 and up Silverado headlights. Now, of course, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and I know a lot of people still aren't on board with the styling of those trucks, but I like it, and I think it works surprisingly well on this generation of truck. It modernizes the front end of the truck in a way that makes it appear almost as though it could have been a factory option. So that OEM Plus look is a big hit, especially with me. I know I really like these, and I think if you're after that sort of modernized look, these are going to do the trick for you. Now, one other thing that is worth noting here is that this setup is also DOT and SAE approved, meaning that they meet all the necessary regulations to be deemed street legal. That also means that adjusters are included on the back, so you can ensure proper alignment for the best lighting output. Now, the housings here are constructed from polypropylene, which means that they're going to be nice and light and durable. The lenses are, of course, your industry standard polycarbonate, meaning that they're going to hold up well to impacts and all kinds of weather conditions. Plus, the whole thing is, of course, sealed up to help keep out dirt and moisture, protecting the housings and the electronics inside. Now, those LED daytime running lights and turn signals we talked about are going to last you a while because they are LEDs. And of course, those H7 bulbs for the main and high beams means that when you do need replacements, if you ever need them, they'll be affordable and readily available, so running costs here are minimal. Now, pricing for this setup comes in at about $600, and that puts them in about the middle of the pack when it comes to replacement headlights. Certainly not the most affordable, but definitely not the most expensive either, and you are getting some good stuff here, plus a cool style to boot. Now, you're saving a bit on initial costs over a full LED setup, which is nice, and because you've got those H7 bulbs, running costs are going to be minimal as well. Now, installation is going to get a 2 out of 3 on our difficulty meter, and we expect that it'll take you about 2 hours to get the job done. Now, everything is pretty much set to go here. For the most part, this is a plug and play operation. However, there is a little bit of wiring that you're going to have to plug in. You're going to need to run power and ground, but everything comes ready to go. You've got some spade connectors on the end here, plus all your resistors and fuses already wired up and in line. It's just going to be a matter of plugging things in appropriately. So with that, let's head out to the shop and we'll show you exactly how to get this one done.
Tools required for this install include a ratchet, a clip remover tool, wire strippers and crimpers, needle nose pliers, scissors or diagonal cutters, an extension, 10mm ratcheting wrench, Phillips head screwdriver, 10mm socket, some 18 gauge wire, a couple butt connectors, and a few zip ties. What's up guys? Today we're installing a set of headlights on our Silverado. First we're going to watch a quick uninstall video showing you how to remove your factory headlights, and I'll meet you right back here for the install.
All right, first step here, we have to uninstall our factory headlights. To do that, pop your hood. We're gonna remove the radiator shroud. Now there's a bunch of these plastic black push pin clips here. What you're gonna do is take a panel removal tool. I'm gonna start with this guy here. You're just gonna pry up on the middle section. Once that's up, you don't necessarily need to take it off in two pieces, but once that's up, you can pull it off all together just like that. Do that for each one along the entire shroud. Now that all those clips are off, let's just lift up on the shroud and set it aside. Next up, we have to head over to the wheel well to remove this one Phillips head screw. Now the reason we're doing that is because this entire trim piece that goes along all underneath the headlights and grille has to come off. So grab a Phillips head, we're just gonna take this one screw off in each wheel well. So once you have one taken care of, repeat on the other side. And once that's off, you can start cracking that guy loose. All right, next step here, just pull that trim piece all the way off and set it aside. All right, next up, let's get our grill out of the way. Now there's 4 10mm bolts at the top, so I'm switching over to an impact gun and a deep socket, so let's get those off. All right, now on the bottom left and bottom right corners, you're gonna find another 10mm. For the grill, I'm switching over to an extension on my 10mm. All right, same thing on the other side. All right, so now we can just pull the grill off in one piece. All right, next step, let's unbolt our headlight. Now I'm working on our passenger side here. There's 2 10mm bolts up top we're gonna start with. All right, next up, behind where our grill was here, there's one more bolt at the bottom down there. All right, we have one more down here in the corner, right behind where the trim was underneath the headlight. I'm gonna use a 10mm ratcheting wrench for this guy just because it's at a tough angle. All right, so now we can just pull that straight back. And you just pinch and disconnect the harness. Just like that, set your factory light aside.
Now before we get down to installing our headlights, we have our harness here. Now depending on whether your battery is on the driver or passenger side, you may need to extend this harness. For us, our battery is on the passenger side while our fuse box is on the driver side, so we're gonna need to add about 4 feet to our harness. If you have both your battery and fuse box on the driver side, then you won't need to do this. So I've got about 4 feet of 18 gauge wire here. We're gonna splice into our gray wire and crimp that down. So now you're gonna need a pair of wire strippers and crimpers for this. We have our gray wire here. This is the one with the fuse tap on the end. So we're gonna go right around the middle here and make a cut. And then we strip back some of our sheathing on both sides. And then we'll get our 18 gauge wire. Strip some of that back on both sides as well. And then to connect this together, we're gonna be using butt connectors. So we'll twist up the lead, slide our connector on, and then take a pair of wire crimpers to crimp that down. And then we can do the same thing to our extension wire. Slide that in. And then take our crimpers, crimp down on that, make sure we have a good crimp, and then we can just do that same thing on the other side. And now with that done, we're ready to get this installed onto the truck. So now I've got our wire harness laid out across our engine bay, kind of how it'll go. I've got our fuse tap over on the driver's side where our fuse box is. I've got our battery terminal connectors over here on the passenger side, right next to our battery. We have our shorter end of the harness with the bullet connector going to our passenger side headlight bucket, and our longer side with the bullet connector going over towards our driver's side. Now, if your battery is on the driver's side, then the two bullet connectors would be flipped, and your shorter end would be on the driver's side, and the longer end would be running over to the passenger side. So first, we're gonna connect our two connectors to our battery terminals. I've got a 10mm socket. We're gonna loosen up our nut, and then we can slide our connector on and tighten it back down. And then we can tuck our excess behind our battery tray. So now we have to run our fuse tap wire across the engine bay over towards our fuse box. So I've got some zip ties. We're gonna be following this harness right here. We'll put a zip tie up to tie it into that, and then we can cut off our excess with a pair of scissors or diagonal cutters. And now we'll just keep doing that same thing all the way across our engine bay. Next, we can install our fuse tap. So we're gonna pull back on these two clips on our fuse box cover and pop it up. And then we're gonna be looking for our 39 fuse, which is this 10 amp right here. So we'll grab a pair of needle nose pliers to pull out that fuse. And then we can grab our fuse tap. We're gonna add this fuse next to the fuse that comes in the tap, just like that. And then we're gonna put these two prongs right in that hole that we pulled our fuse out from. Now with that installed, we can just run our wire out cleanly and reinstall our cover. Now we can come back over to our passenger side and grab the shorter bullet connector wire and feed that down into our headlight bucket. So I'm gonna go underneath this bar and then through this cutout right here and drop that down into place. And then we can take our longer bullet connector. We're gonna be following this harness. So we'll pull this through. And then we can zip tie this to our harness and run it across to the driver's side. So now we can zip tie our wire to this existing harness. Now on the driver's side, we can follow our hood release cable. And then once we get to this point, we have a hole right down here that leads into our headlight bucket. So I'll just drop that down and through. And then we can tighten down our zip tie and cut off the excess. So now we're ready to install our headlights. We have our connector on the back of our headlight that's gonna go to our body connector, as well as the bullet connector that's gonna go to the wiring harness that we just installed. So we'll plug these in, slide it into place, and then we can install our bolts. So we'll connect the bullet connectors for our daytime running lights first. And then our main connector. And now with those connected, we can tuck our wires and slide our light into place. So now we'll start up top and reinstall our two bolts. And now we'll install our bolt at the lower inside corner. And then we'll grab our 10mm socket and tighten all of these down. So now we can come to the lower outside corner of our headlight and reinstall our final bolt. And then we can take a 10mm ratcheting wrench to tighten that down. And then we can repeat that same process on the other side. Next, we can line up and reinstall our grill. So now with our grill sitting in place, we can reinstall those 4 bolts at the top of our grill. And then we can grab our 10mm socket and tighten all of these down. Next, we can reinstall our radiator cover as well as all of our push clips. Now we have the 2 tabs on the front of our cover that are going to slide into those holes first, and then we'll just lay that down. And now we can slide in all of our push clips. Next, we can reinstall our lower grill bolts. Now, it's going to be hard to see on camera, but everywhere that we have this rectangular cutout, we have a U-clip. So I've got an extension with a 10mm socket. I'm throwing my bolt at the end of the socket. We'll get these started by hand, and then we can throw the ratchet on the other end to tighten these down. Next, we can line up and reinstall our lower trim. Next, we can come back to our wheel well and take a Phillips head screwdriver to reinstall our screw. And then we can do that same thing on the other side. So that'll wrap up this review and install of the Pro Series projector headlights with alpha black housing and clear lens for your 2014 to 15 Silverado 1500. Thank you for watching, and for all things Silverado, keep it right here at AmericanTrucks.com.